welcome back to another race day vlog. Today we are headed up to Belterra to go watch Mikasa run 5 furlongs on the turf, aka half of a circle on the grass. Now I've said for a little bit now that like we've been wanting to try her on the turf because pedigree wise suggests what are we doing? Yearlings, man. Anyway, pedigree-wise suggests that she rather enjoy the turf, and so that's kind of been a thought process that, hey, she may really, really like this thing. Granted, that all being said, it is technically an experiment because, so fun fact for those of you who don't know, we typically don't have, like, workouts on the turf. So, typically, when they do all the training and stuff of that nature, it's on the dirt and or synthetic, depending where you are. Now, granted, you can do turf workouts. It's just sometimes it kind of depends where you are. Not all tracks have a turf track. And then there's also specific times and all that jazz of when you can do turf. It's a whole thing. That being said, a lot of horses who, you know, go to run on the turf actually typically don't run on the turf until like race day. You know, they don't get like a lot of practice on it unless people are doing it like out in the field or things of that nature. Anyway, so it technically is a bit of an experiment because in theory she should really like the turf, but you know, I guess we're gonna find out. It's a big field. I think last I checked there was freaking 14 horses scheduled, and so I think 2 of them have scratched because one of them wasn't also eligible. So, and then there was a scratch. So it's still a big field, which sucks because that also means traffic trouble is a potential, which is the whole thing. Anyway, I always do like a lap around the farm when I first get here, just to make sure everyone is a-okay. And I'm not even driving on the road. But why are we playing the bitey halter game? The bitey halter game is where they try to grab onto the other horse's halter with their mouth and just be a problem. This is why. Anyway, let's go watch Mikasa have her turf debut.
And they're off. Off slowly was Carlisle Kitten, also My Dear Valentine. Jetting out for the lead, Ume hangs 2 on the field. To the outside, touring with Netta. Down on the inside, Chitara in the catbird seat. To the outside, we got Mink Stoll on the move. Down against the rail, that is Margaret's Lady. Main pass on the outside by Cause I'm a Rose. Length and a half back to Devil of Paradise. 2 more lengths back to Rasandi Amor. 6 more back. We got to My Dear Valentine. The trailer is Carlisle Kitten, opening quarter on the board of 22-1. Ume shows the way, leads by a length and a half. Laying in second, touring with Netta, spinning out 3 wide, Cause I'm a Rose, as they come spinning off the turn. Ume turns them in. Ume's on top by a length and a half. Outside, company's coming, Cause I'm a Rose. Cause I'm a Rose, and Perry is looking for 2 in a row. Cause I'm a Rose goes right on by. It's Cause I'm a Rose in today's 5th race. Gonna be very tight for second.
Well, we did say it was an experiment. Anyway, she's the 4 horse. She breaks out pretty well from here. She's going to kind of be toward the back end of that first grouping. That first horse is just going to take it and run with it. She's right there in the back of that first little group. Do have to laugh a little bit. A friend of mine also had a horse in this field, and we were joking a little bit, making little silly jokes, like maybe we'll finish right next to each other and skip across the finish line. You know, happily ever after. She's going to move on the outside of this one horse that's on the inside that you can see is pulled back a little bit. I think the jockey just got a little uncomfortable with how close everything was, 'cause I don't know. Anyway, you see her attempting to make a little bit of a closing effort around this turn, and that is going to be all she wrote. She was very uncomfortable with the turf course. You can't see her at this stage, but obviously I was watching in person. She ended up swapping leads a whole bunch coming down the stretch, meaning she was not comfortable with the turf. She couldn't really grab a hold of it, all that jazz. And ironically, me and my friend's horses did skip across the finish line together, just not up top like we were originally hoping, just closer to the back of the pack. So that experiment was a fail. Okay, it wasn't a fail. We just found out our answer on whether or not she would like the turf or not. That answer is no. She definitely did not like it. It was pretty obvious, specifically coming around the turn and in the stretch, that she was just not comfortable with the surface at all. She was like, this is stupid. Put me back on the dirt. So no harm, no foul. We'll scratch the race from existence. It never happened in imaginary land. We'll just put her back on the dirt. Fabulous. Awesome. Nice. In other related news, because I almost didn't go to the race. Like, I managed to get there by like the skin of my teeth, and I hauled ass out of there. Like, as soon as she crossed the finish line and we went and talked to the jock, I bolted out of there because I don't know when you're gonna see this. I've been without Wi-Fi for like a week and a half. Okay. And so obviously we have the farm, right? And I'm essentially, there's no like actual terms. We don't use terms. I am basically an assistant manager. Okay. I put that a lot of quotes in that, but head honcho was out of town, right? They left to go visit our hometown. And I was like, I joked. I was like, haha, I won't let the place burn down because, you know, he's gone for a whole freaking week. Lo and behold, I find out the day before he leaves. My vet is also leaving out of town. So he's leaving his intern and then obviously his past intern as backup. And then obviously we have a whole vet clinic. So like, it's not like we're alone. But you know, like our regular guy has left the building. And as soon as I found out that they're both gone at the same time, I was like, oh, something will happen. And I told the intern, I was like, be prepared. I was like, I got a feeling it'll be Friday because Friday is when they're both officially gone for at least 24 hours. And she's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, something will happen. I was like, I don't know what. So I was like, hopefully it's something minor, like just stitches. Okay. Like, hopefully it's not like a colic, but I was like, be prepared. Thursday evening, I just had this feeling in my gut that something was happening. And there was only one horse I was looking at. I was like, it's gonna be her. I was like, it's the most expensive thing on the farm. I was like, this mare in particular, we love her to death, but she tries to kill herself once a year. She does it with creativity, something new every time. But she had a flare-up of cellulitis, which for those of you who don't know, it's like swelling kind of on a leg. And she had a little bit of a flare-up, and it was like she only started developing these last year at one point, and apparently she had a history of doing this anyway. And so I was kind of like, but I had never experienced it with her until last year. And so I was like, oh, she had a little bit of a flare up, and I wasn't like, I was able to get most of it down except for this one little spot. And then she had came in that night, and there was nothing wrong, as in like she was sound, happy, healthy. But I just had this gut feeling, and so I texted the intern. I was like, tomorrow morning, for like first thing in the morning, can you come look at her? I was like, she's fine. I just got a feeling. And sure enough, I ended up taking that feeling to the clinic. Because she, like that morning, she was just totally lame. And apparently she had some sort of issue with her hip. I was like, and originally because obviously everyone's out of town, and so one of them was out of the country, and so it was really hard to get a hold of him because he doesn't really have service, because, you know, we're from a little town in Mexico, like our service is spotty as is. And so freaking I flat out was like, well, I'm taking her to the clinic. And I called him and I happened to get a hold of him. He's like, what'd you break? I was like, I didn't break anything. And I'm telling you this as do I have permission? I hope I have permission because I'm already on my way to the vet clinic. I was like, I think it's just an EPM thing. It was not an EPM thing. It was a hip thing, which is probably better. But anyway, so obviously I was like, by the time I got back, and someone else had their truck break down, and there was something else that also had, oh, my horse got skunked. A lot of things happened on Friday, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to this race. Anyway, to add to all that, we haven't had Wi-Fi for a week and a half, so, like, me uploading photos and videos has been, like, non-existent, because I don't have Wi-Fi. And yeah, it's been crazy. So I have this video on docket. I have two or three other videos, I think, that are like some of stuff for the sales, and then there's the terminology video. What do you mean I'm low on fuel? That like they've been on my computer, and I just need to finish editing some last things, but I have Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is, you know, because in my brain I have ADHD. My brain, I have stuff that I can do on my computer, and stuff I might do on my phone, but I never switch them up. So that's been a thing. And then, yeah, oh, to add to it all, because why don't I have more videos? Luckily, Mikasa just ran on Friday. Fabulous. I don't know when you're going to see this, but next Friday, which for me at this point, I think is this Friday, Peach is going to be running, and so I'm going to be over at Belterra to watch Peach run, and Saturday, Streaking is running, so I'm going to have, hopefully, you are hopefully going to get slammed with videos. I'm not going to slam them, I'm going to space them out, but I've got video upon video ready to be released once I have Wi-Fi. Fabulous. Anyway, so now that I've rambled and talked about how hectic my Friday was, and now that head honchos are hopefully on their way back here in a couple days, the world is no longer ending, and my horse is alive. That was the important thing. I was like, no one died. The barn is still standing. Fabulous. Anyway, I'm going to go clean stalls now, and hopefully continue not to burn down the place. So I guess I will see you all at the next race, which is sooner rather than later.